Hi everybody, I'm Emily and welcome to my channel. So for those of you who have never seen my videos before, you wouldn't know that this is the first video I've posted in like 5 months. If you do normally follow my channel and you've stayed subscribed to me throughout these 5 months, even though I haven't been posting, I just want to say thank you. As you can tell by the title of this video, I got my colon removed, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about that and then a little bit about me getting back into YouTube and the direction that I want to take with my channel. So this is probably going to be a pretty lengthy video, pretty rambly, and if I'm a little like weird in this video, it's only because this one is a really emotional subject. Two, I also haven't filmed in a very long time, so if I'm looking at the viewfinder or I start to get off topic, bear with me, I'll get back into the hang of it eventually. So, like I said, big picture, got my colon removed, I was very, very sick. So now I'm going to tell you the story of how that all happened. It is a very long story, and I've written it out for myself, just for myself so I can look back on, but then also as like, I don't know, because I kind of forget some things. Like my mom will be talking about something and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that even happened. So yeah, so basically from January to February 20th, I was in and out of the hospital consistently. I would be in for a while and then out for 1 or 2 days, have to go right back. We didn't know what was going on. It started with some leg issues. Like it literally felt like both of my legs had snapped in half. Like if I would have, I knew that that's not what happened because I hadn't hurt them. But then I started having some really bad stomach issues, and for those of you who know that I have ulcerative colitis, that's kind of where this all started. So I do have 2 other videos that I'll have linked down below talking about my ulcerative colitis journey. I have privated all other videos, but I'll keep those ones up on my channel. So that is kind of how it started. I was in and out of the hospital with super intense stomach pain. Like I have never felt anything like this before in my life. Like I would be buckled over. Like, why am I getting choked up right now? This is so stupid. I just had never felt anything like that before in my life, and it was really scary. And now that I think about it, I could definitely go through like natural childbirth because like this was like such intense pain. So what started the hospital stay, like I said, from January to February 20th, which is when I had my surgery, I was in and out of the hospital consistently. So I'm going to be talking mainly about that last hospital stay because the ones before that, we didn't really know what was going on, and I mean, they're just kind of pointless and whatever. So I was admitted on, I have a hair on my face. I was admitted on Thursday, February 20th for this last hospital stay, or I went into the ER Wednesday night, and I went downstairs and just said to my parents, something is wrong. Like, I can feel that something isn't right. I mean, something was wrong the whole time. I was still in pain, but something just was kind of sitting in the back of my head, like, I think you need to go in. And my parents said, no, let's just wait till the morning. You know, let's kind of give it one more night, and if things aren't getting better by the morning, we'll take you back in. Which part of this, by the way, I found out that I'm literally allergic to every painkiller possible. So morphine, tramadol, Vicodin, Oxycontin. So I would break out in these massive hives. I'll insert some pictures. So I would break out in these massive patches of hives and like have trouble breathing, like feeling like I was gonna pass out. And so I eventually couldn't take any of the medicine that they were prescribing me to help my ulcerative colitis because I was throwing everything up, including my pain medication, which then I was having an allergic reaction to. So it was just this vicious cycle. I couldn't even keep like a sip of water down. So I was super exhausted because I had no energy. First of all, I was sick, so I had no energy. Second of all, I had no food, so I had no energy. I was just feeling really weak. So I told them, no, if you don't take me right now, I'm going to drive myself, and that's not safe, so you need to take me. So they take me in or whatever, and they decide, take me into the urgent care, and they decide to, or the emergency room, and decide to admit me into the hospital. So they're like, all right, you know, it's really late at night, so we're just going to keep you here in this hospital room, and then we're going to have the team come in and speak to you in the morning. So the team comes in, speaks to me in the morning, the team of doctors in internal medicine that had been seeing me this whole time still has no idea what's going on. So they're like, well, we also are kind of thinking maybe this throwing up is you have a stomach ulcer, which could have been very well possible because I had been stressing out big time because I've been in so much pain. So they take me that, like, and maybe 30 minutes later, one of the doctors comes in who's been seeing me this whole time, and she's like, you know, we're going to take you to get this upper endoscopy, but then we also kind of want to do a colonoscopy to see what's going on. And something just told me in my head, call your mom. One, because I knew I was going to want, because I've had a colonoscopy before, and when you get out of it, you're really groggy. I knew I wasn't going to be able to listen to what the doctors had to say, and I knew I was going to want my mom there. So I just said, I called my mom and I said, you know, I think that you should get here. She was at work, so she had to, you know, make arrangements to leave and, you know, get things covered. And I just said, you know, I really think that you should get here. They're going to take me for this upper endoscopy and a colonoscopy. She's like, okay. So then I get to the, like, not operating room, but I guess the procedure room where they're going to do it. And I, like, have this sense of terror over my entire body. I'm not quite sure if it was, I don't know, God preparing me for something or what it was. You know, I kind of have this sense of, like, oh my God, something is going to happen. So, they're like, okay, you have to do this enema. And if you don't know what an enema is, it's basically a water bottle that has like a straw on the end, and they tell you to stick the straw up your behind and squeeze the water bottle and squeeze all the water up into your like rectum, and it'll kind of flush out that bottom part so they can see what's going on. I have never felt anything like this in my life. Like, so I was sitting on the toilet and I did what they said. I screamed so loud, the whole floor had to have heard me. I was like, why is it burning? I like fell off the toilet. I was laying on the ground. I was like, literally shaking. I thought I was going to pass out. And I said, somebody please get my mom. Like, I need my mom here. Yes, I'm 22 years old. And every time I would say like, oh, I need my mom, they'd be like, you're 22 years old, get it together. But I needed my mom, okay? So they are like, it's okay, it's okay. So the nurse, I remember her name being Sarah. I mean, that is her name, but I don't know why I remember her name. But anyways, so she takes me back. She kind of carries me, puts me on the procedure table. They're telling me about it, and I'm just like, okay. So the chief of gastroenterology is like your intestinal doctor, deals with like the stomach and the gut and colon and rectal. So the chief of gastroenterology comes in and is like, okay, I'm going to do this scan, or this colonoscopy and this upper endoscopy. Colonoscopy goes up your butt, upper endoscopy goes down your throat. So I basically had tubes coming out both ends, which, great, mental picture, right? So they do the thing. Obviously, I was knocked out. I don't remember anything. But then I kind of remember I was laying on my side on the opposite end of the bed that I had gone to sleep on, for whatever reason. So the other thing is that they also had the general surgeon, I don't know if I can say her name. Dr. Marie comes in and before my scope, and she's talking to me, and I had to fix something on my camera, so if it kind of skipped, I'm sorry. But so the general surgeon who ended up doing my surgery was in the room during my scopes, which I thought was kind of weird. Because they didn't really stress that, like, they were really worried, but I guess that they were worried enough to have a surgeon in the room just in case I needed to have surgery. So now I wake up and I'm laying on my side facing the door, and I can see the outline of Dr. Marie, is what I'll call her. So I can see the outline of her uniform, because everyone else was wearing scrubs and she's in a military uniform. And I hear her say, we need to move room, whatever room, 2 or 4, or I don't know what she said, to be honest with you, to the ICU right away. Tell them that we're coming now. And I didn't know that she was talking about me. Like, I was like, oh, that poor patient. I remember thinking, that poor patient. So then the next thing I know, I am awake, but my eyes are closed, but it's so weird how to describe this because it's like an out-of-body experience, but there's a man standing next to me kind of shaking my arm, and then there's another nurse saying she's not breathing. And I'm thinking to myself, they can't be talking about me because I am breathing. But despite what my internal monologue said, I wasn't breathing after my scope, which is really alarming. So I ended up, not passing out, but which I guess it could have been passing out, but they said that that my body was under such stress that it just was like trying to shut down, basically, to kind of try to preserve itself. Like, I was breathing, I only breathed like 5 or 6 times in a minute, which if you think about it, is holding your breath 10, like, I tried to do it afterwards because, like, that's not that bad. No, it's that bad. It's actually really hard to do. And my blood pressure was really, really, really dangerously low. So I don't know what they did after that, like, to help get me back. But then I woke up and my mom was in the room, and they're kind of telling us what they found, and they're saying, we're really concerned that Emily's colon is going to rupture at any minute. She's now in the ICU because we want to keep it monitored, and we want to just in case, because the ICU is on the same floor as surgery. So they were like, we want to make sure that if it does rupture, we're right here to take her into surgery. So even then, I don't really know if I realized what was going on. I don't know if it registered to me how serious this was. So a lot of this is really blurry, and I wish my mom was here to kind of help fill in what happened. So the rest of Friday, that was on Friday, really early in the morning, they moved me into the ICU pretty, like, it was still early in the morning. It had to have been like 11:30 maybe. And we just, I guess, kind of hung out. Like, they were like, we're going to try some treatment stuff to kind of get your colon under control, because we don't want to have to take it out. But that's definitely a possibility. And even in my head, I don't know if I realized what that meant, getting your colon taken out. I mean, I kind of knew, but I had no idea, really, of the dramatic life change I was going to have to make. So I'm just going to talk about some of the big moments that I really remember. So Friday night, I was introduced to my night team. So you have day nurses and night nurses. And night nurses, a lot of the time, are really critical because for pain patients, a lot of your pain gets worse at night. Especially in my case, my pain would double at night, which I couldn't, if you would have told me that during the day, I'd have been like, I don't want to make it to the night, because is this pain going to get worse? Because I couldn't even imagine. So they ended up actually keeping me on Dilaudid, which, if you've ever had Dilaudid, you're probably laughing right now because you know how good it is. So I had to stay on top of my pain medication, like, to the minute. Like, the minute I was due for pain medication, they had to be putting it in my IV. So we get through Friday night, and it really wasn't that bad. I had had worse pain experiences in the hospital at night. I had been ignored a couple times. It was just really, nighttime was scary for me because I had just been ignored in the past for whatever reason. So we get to Saturday morning, and they go and take me to x-ray, and they're like, we kind of want to see where you're at, where your colon is. So basically, it was swollen shut on the inside. They were like, no wonder you're throwing up, because nothing is going to pass through. So they were just giving me IV liquids with potassium and probably calcium in it, I think. But I wasn't getting any caloric values, so you can only imagine, like, I'm like wasting away in this hospital bed. So this is where I'm going to start to insert some pictures, and I wish I had taken more, but honestly, when you're in the moment and you're in all this pain, that's not the first thing you think of, is to, hey, let me whip out my phone and take some pictures. Anyways, so Saturday, one of the internal medicine doctors comes in and says, we're going to start you on a blood transfusion. And the thought of having a blood transfusion is just like, whoa, someone else's body, like, blood is in my body now. Oh my God, I wish I could have a blood transfusion right now. Like, it just made me feel, probably wouldn't make me feel better right now because I'm, like, relatively healthy, but in that state, oh my God, it felt amazing. Like, I felt like a new woman. Like, I was like, I'm ready to go home. I feel great. And they're like, no, Emily, chill. You just got some more antibodies, some white blood cells. You're not going anywhere. So they put me on some high-dose steroids. I'm not quite sure what they were called. Also put me on Flagyl, which is a high-dose antibiotic, and Ciprol, something like that, which is also a high-dose antibiotic, just in case my colon did rupture. I was already kind of combating any type of infection that may have been happening. So I just remember constant pain. I was basically asleep the whole time, except for when, my mom would bring me, a blanket, or Saturday, one of my really good friends, Quinn, from work, came in and brought me some balloons and flowers, and honestly, my friends and family have just been beyond amazing to me throughout this whole process. So yeah, I don't know if I said the date. So at this point, this is February 18th. February 18th is Saturday, okay? So I get this blood transfusion. Saturday night, they come to me, and they're like, okay, you being in the ICU, we need to get 2 IV lines on you. So an IV, if you don't know, is like a needle in your arm, or it's like a catheter that they use to inject stuff with. And when you're in the ICU, it's serious enough to where you might need 2 things at once, to be going at once. So they ended up doing what's called a PICC line, which is basically a catheter that runs from here on your arm. I'll insert a picture of what mine looked like, and then the bruise that it left after the PICC line was taken out. But so a PICC line, P-I-C-C, is a catheter that runs from here in your arm to your heart, and it just delivers the medication faster, and it stays 2 lines throughout your body. if that makes sense. So it doesn't like converge into one, because some medications can't be mixed. So it's a catheter. They measure it out. So the guy, and it is a surgery. So the guy measures it out or whatever. This is at 9:30 at night on Saturday. Guy measures it out, puts it in, is like, okay, we're good. I sit up in bed, or my arm during the surgery is like this, okay? He puts it down. All of a sudden I'm like, like coughing, and this nurse I see from the other side of the ICU, because if you've ever been in the ICU, it's all glass walls, like you don't have privacy. It's kind of like on Grey's Anatomy where you have like glass walls, okay? So anyways, so I see this nurse or doctor, whoever she was on the other side, literally hop the counter and come into the room. My heart rate had gone, I guess it's called SVT. My heart rate went from 90 to 190 in like 2 seconds. The catheter had slipped into my heart. So they like throw me back on the bed, whip my arm up, and I'm like, okay then, like, all right. So he kind of adjusts it, sits me back up, and I'm like, still a little, so he ends up adjusting it quite a bit. His measurement was actually a lot off. I'm like, where'd you freaking go to school for your math? But anyways, I'm not good at math either, no judgment. So then Sunday morning, I wake up, we do another set of x-rays. At this point, I've had like 5 x-rays, which I was freaking out because you guys know in my ulcerative colitis videos, I talk about not wanting to be on medication and all this stuff. And now we're freaking blasting my body with radiation, which is like last thing I want to do. So they take me, and the chief of gastroenterology comes in and he says, you know, you're looking a little bit better, but we're definitely not improved. You know, not to where we want to be. I have a feeling that you're going to start to plateau, that you're only going to get as good as you can, and then it's just going to stop getting better, and at that point we're going to have to look at surgery. So then the other doctors, so there is the Dr. Marie, we'll say Dr. Bahama, and his resident. Okay, so Dr. Marie is number 1, Dr. Bahama is underneath her, and then the resident. So they all come in and they start talking to me, and they're like, you know, we just want to have everybody on the same page. So my parents come, this is on Sunday, February 19th. My parents come and everybody sits down in the room and is talking about what's going to happen. And they said, we're going to give her one last shot of really high dose steroids. We're going to kind of blast her with them to see if we can get this kick started to start improving. And I really don't even remember the whole situation. I was just in a blur. And I remember one of the nurses, one of my day nurses, he was honestly amazing. So the 3 nurses, the 2 night nurses that are literally lifesavers, and then my day male nurse was just amazing the whole time. He's standing in the corner, and I remember I kept looking at him, and he would shake his head at me and say, you know, like, it's okay, it's okay. And I don't think that I was absorbing any of it. It was going right over my head, partly because I was on drugs. 2 is I didn't want to admit what was going on. 3rd is it's medical jargon. You know, a lot of that, even when they dumb it down, a lot of it is just over your head. So, you know, they said, we're going to give her the night and we're going to see what's going to happen. So that night was awful. I probably called my mom 10 times. I was up and down all throughout the night, screaming in pain, begging that night nurse. My 2 female nurses, this was their night off. And I was terrified going into the night without them, because they would just be there to hold my hand and talk to me. And so I was really scared to go into the night without them. But I just was in excruciating pain, just screaming. And I have a playlist with songs that I would turn on when something like this would happen throughout the process. And I would just close my eyes and listen to them and pray the whole time. I was in constant prayer the whole time. So my mom says that throughout the night she kind of knew that something was wrong. So Monday morning we get up and they come into my room and do my daily labs where they pull the blood and, you know, run these labs. Went and got an x-ray. Or so the doctors come. So I went and got my x-ray, come back. Dr. Bahama and his resident come in, this is on President's Day, and say, you know, we haven't looked at your x-ray, but we feel like we can push off surgery for another day. And I'm like, okay, good. Okay, I don't want surgery. Let's push off another day if we can. So they leave, and I call my mom, and I say, Mom, you and Dad have to get here right now. Something is not right. And this is when I really think that this is God in the back of my head putting a little seed. Because had I not called my parents, they weren't going to come until later. So this is really early in the morning. This is probably like 8 a.m. And I just said, you guys need to get here right now. And my mom's like, oh, we're getting ready. No, you need to leave the house right now. So they rush over. They get there. Doctors come back, and they're sitting down. And I remember, my dad said this is not how it happened, but this is how I remember it. So my dad is sitting, I'm laying down in the hospital bed. My dad is sitting next to me. Dr. Bahama is on the other side, sitting in another chair. Oh no, everyone comes into the room, and they're all standing up. And I say, can everybody just sit down? Everybody is just standing up around me, and I'm laying in a bed. I can't, like, it's like you're looking up at everybody, and it's just very uncomfortable. So, especially when you're talking about something so serious, so, as emergency surgery. So, my dad is sitting next to me. I want to say that I don't even remember my mom being in the room, to be honest with you. She said she was, but I don't remember. And then Dr. Bahama is in a chair a little bit farther down my bed. I want to say that his resident was with him as well. So he says, you know, we're going to have to do surgery. And I don't know why in my head I thought today. Or he said today we're going to have to give surgery. Or do the surgery. So I'm thinking later today, in a couple hours. And he goes, no, I've called the anesthesiologist in. Everybody is on their way. Because everybody was on call because it was President's Day. So staff isn't there. Things aren't booked. So I just kind of like, I don't even know what I did. Like, I think that I just kind of sat there like, excuse me? I was like right now? And they were like, yes. And I was like, I remember starting to get hysterical. I was like, I didn't think it would be happening this fast. And they're like, your colon is going to rupture at any second. And that was really scary because they're like, please do not breathe. Don't get hysterical. Like, you can't get emotional right now because your colon is going to rupture. You know, we have to rush you to emergency surgery. So my dad said that the anesthesiologist was standing like behind my head, like at this part of the bed to where I couldn't see him, and he like, I guess, winked at my dad and like gave me something to kind of calm me down, which I think was probably like a little bit of a sedative because a lot of this I don't remember, but I do remember a lot of people being in the room at this point, and I remember yelling, everybody get out of my room. Get out of my room, shut the door, shut the curtain, get out. And I just remember laying there like, oh my God, what is about to happen to me? And I'm getting choked up because I don't know, I just was really, really scared, and it's kind of hard to put yourself back in that place of being really, really scared. I mean, being 22 and facing emergency surgery after 2 months of being in pain is really hard. So I kind of told everybody, and I just kind of sat there and prayed for a little bit. And I just remember thinking, like, I just want to disappear. Like, I just want to be anywhere but right here, just for a second. And so I just kind of closed my eyes and turned on, like, the music that had been comforting me this whole time. And I just thought, like, there's no way I can do this. And so I kind of just asked him to come back in, because at this point, what's going to happen was going to happen. So I just kind of prepared for the worst. And so I wake up from surgery, and I'll insert some pictures of exactly what I looked like, but I just kind of looked at my stomach, so I wake out of surgery, and I'm in excruciating pain, and my day nurse is helping me, and he's like, it's gonna be okay, Emily, and I remember hitting the side of the bed, and I was like, you're not taking away my pain, you said I wouldn't be in pain. So they ended up doing the surgery laparoscopically. Thank God. I'm super, super thankful. And so my family comes in, and they're trying to talk to me about what's happening, or like what has just happened, and it's not even registering to me at this point. I look down and I see this bag on me, and I just don't understand really what that means. And this is the first time really that I've like talked about all of this. I mean, obviously I talk about it to people in my life, but not to this extent. So I wake up, and I just have tons of texts, which was really, really nice. I had texted my friend Quinn, who had seen me on Saturday, and kind of told her, hey, we're getting ready to go to surgery. So when I woke up, everybody from work had texted me, which was really nice. I remember Tuesday, we decided to so now I'm going to talk about some of the emotional sides of it after the medicine, if you've made it this far. Okay. So I had put on regular clothes for the first time on Tuesday, and I didn't even recognize myself. Like, I would look in the mirror and not even like recognize my own body. And I remember putting on my pajama pants for the first time, and I had a tank top, and getting hysterical, like hysterically crying. First of all, I was in pain because I'd just been cut open in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. I was really bloated because when you do a laparoscopic surgery, they blow up your abdomen. And I just remember bawling, and my parents were there, and I would have to do laps around the hospital to kind of build myself up. Remember thinking, like, I just feel ugly. Like, I just don't feel like myself. And that's hard for a 22-year-old who normally has really strong self-confidence to go through. So then they moved me Tuesday. Dr. Murray came in and said, you know, we're going to move you down to the floor. And I said, okay. Or no, it was Tuesday night. And she said, tomorrow, on Wednesday morning, we're going to move you down. So they moved me down to the regular floor, you know, hospital floor. So then the nurse came in. It's called an ostomy nurse, because what I have is called an ostomy. And the nurse comes in, Allison, and is showing me how to take off what is called the wafer. I mean, most of you probably don't care about the ins and outs of having an ostomy, but then I also had a bag, so she takes it off, we get in the shower, and I just looked down at my body. I don't want to say it was body dysmorphia, because I don't think that's the right word for what I was experiencing. I just didn't recognize myself. Like, I literally felt like my soul was trapped in somebody else's body, and I just was getting hysterical, and the nurses were like, it's okay, and I'm like, no, it's not okay. It's not okay to be 22 and to be going through all of this. And I wanted somebody to blame. Even after my surgery coming home, first of all, I had lost, between October and this point, I lost 50 pounds. And I mean, I'm a pretty small girl, so even weighing 90, I think I was 104 when I finally got home. And I looked sick. I'll insert some pictures of what I looked like. But I just wanted somebody to blame. I wanted it to be the doctor's fault. I wanted it to be my fault. I just needed somebody to blame. And then I was mad at God for letting this happen to me. I just had a lot of anger and a lot of just animosity about the whole situation, and just didn't really understand why. And my confidence was just shot to hell, and everybody kept saying to me, you know, like, I'm so proud of you, you know, you're a rock star and all this stuff. And I was just covered in bruises, and I was putting on a brave face, I think, for a really long time. Even now, I mean, I don't really open up like this to people about this stuff, even like the closest people in my life. I just kind of took it one day at a time. So then, after probably, this is getting further away from my surgery story and more into my personal life story for those of you who care. So about a week after my surgery, I was starting to feel a lot better, getting my energy back. I mean, I still had to, like, you know, kind of take my time walking the stairs. I was really focused on gaining some of my weight back, which now I kind of wish I would have done that a little bit slower, but whatever. So, I mean, I was overweight before, and even now I think I look pretty thin, but okay, anyways, I'm starting to ramble because I don't know why. So, for those of you who know what Bumble is, so Bumble is like a dating app, and I was like, you know what, I could really use a confidence boost. So I got on there, because guys are always really nice to me on there. That sounded stupid. I probably shouldn't have said that. Okay, whatever. So I am swiping, and I see this guy, and I'm like, Katie, my best friend, and I'm like, oh my god, like, he's so cute. So we start messaging back and forth, and, you know, he's like, oh, what are you doing next weekend? And we ended up going out on a date. And so those of you who know Tyler, because you've been following my channel for a long time, had just kind of not been around at all to offer any support. So it's not that I was trying to find anybody to kind of fill that hole. I just needed somebody there, I guess. I don't really know. Honestly, I don't really know why I went out on a date. I'm not really sure that I was even ready, physically or emotionally ready. But I have to say that half of the reason I think that I am in such a better place is partly because they put me on some antidepressants, which I'm not ashamed to talk about. Two is my best friend Katie has been amazing about everything, and my friends and family have been overwhelming with support, just kind of checking in every day to see how I'm doing, and that's really awesome. But then also, he has been really, really supportive and really great. I was nervous to tell somebody because he was the first person that I'd met post-surgery. Everybody else in my life had already known me before my surgery, so I was nervous to introduce somebody, especially dating at 22. It's like, hey, I carry my poop with me, you know, like, hope you think I'm cute. And so I think part of the reason that I've been so successful emotionally is because he has been such a great support system. So moving forward with my channel, here's how we do this. So I want to start uploading more often. I was actually talking to him last night. Oh, by the way, so it's 2 months later, and I'm with the guy that I went on this first date with, okay? So we were talking last night, and he was just talking about his passion and basically, you know, saying like he wants to travel and all this stuff, and it kind of clicked a gear in me that I used to have a passion too, and it was YouTube, and I loved doing this, but I am not the same girl that I was when I filmed makeup tutorials and fashion stuff and went to Disney World 2 times a year. I'm just not that person anymore. And so, which is okay, everybody has their growth, and this surgery has, and this process has definitely changed me. I've definitely kind of become my own best friend in a way, and really just grown a lot as a person, and so I kind of want to start documenting that. I journaled quite a bit, and I wish that I had done it more often during the whole situation, and I'm sure I'm going to edit this back and realize that I was missing bits and pieces of stuff, but okay. So I guess want to take my channel in the direction of a little bit of health, because that is the center of my world, and I'm going to be getting a surgery sometime this summer to reverse this, to put my intestines back inside my body. So I'll have a lot of scars on my stomach. I'll be covered in them, but I won't have my small intestine. Her name is Rosie, by the way. I won't have her on the outside of my body anymore. Insert picture here of Rosie, because I hate her, but I love her at the same time because she's so cute. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. I still do have ulcerative colitis, and I want to kind of document my journey with that, with my surgery, because there aren't really any videos on ostomy stuff other than like tips and tricks and stuff. Like, there aren't really a lot of videos on the emotional side of it, I guess. Because I guess a lot of people just learn to live with it, but I'm still pretty new. I'm only like 9 weeks out, I think. So yep. And then 2 is I just kind of want to talk about my self-growth, my, you know, kind of body positivity, self-love, that kind of stuff. I'm sure every once in a while I'll do like a chit-chat, get ready with me, kind of sit down, I want to say girl to girl, but guys probably watch these videos too, and just kind of talk about what's been going on in my life, and that kind of stuff. So if you guys have content that you want to see on my channel, then by all means leave your suggestions down below, because I do want to start uploading videos. If you follow Marissa Catherine here on YouTube, or Marissa Lace on YouTube, she's known by both names, I kind of want to go in that direction of like self-love and this kind of Purify Your Life series that she's doing, and that kind of stuff. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. If you haven't subscribed already, I don't know why you would have, because I didn't post any videos, but now you can, because I'm going to start posting videos. So yeah, I hope that you guys, I guess, enjoyed this video. It wasn't a very enjoyable video, but hopefully maybe this helps some of you. And then I will be documenting my surgery process through the next couple of months as I get my next set of surgeries. So thank you so much, you guys, for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!